All right, guys. Today, what we've got is two updates to the civil case of Wes Watson. As everyone knows now, the civil case is set for trial on February 26th of 2026. All right, so getting right into it. The two updates that we're going to get into moving forward here is going to be the notice of video deposition of Wes Watson, and we're going to look at the plaintiff's witness and exhibit list. So just to give everyone a brief synopsis, whenever you're going to trial, you have to disclose prior to trial a witness and an exhibit list. So there's no surprises come trial. So both sides are going to know exactly what evidence each side is going to use to try to either prove their case or prove their defense. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the exhibit list that Hakeem Ibrahim's counsel has disclosed. So basically all the witnesses and every single piece of evidence they're going to use to try to make their case. So we'll review that more in depth, and we're also going to look at a deposition that's coming up here for Wes Watson here in early December. So we're going to delve into both of those and sort of break it down for you and simplify it. All right, so you're going to see attached here on the side somewhere, this is the notice of the deposition, the video deposition. So it states here that on Monday, December 1st, it looks like at 10 a.m., there will be a remote video deposition for purposes of discovery, for use at trial, or both. So plain English here, Wes is going to sit on video under oath and answer questions that can be played for a jury. If trial dates move, the testimony lives forever on his screen. And if his answers change from what he gives in the deposition to trial, well, that's going to open him up for impeachment. So it's very important that your deposition answers are completely in line with what you're going to say at trial. Okay, more importantly now, we're going to move on to the witness and exhibit list for Hakeem Ibrahim. So we're going to have it here attached. Basically, Hakeem Ibrahim's counsel is disclosing, again, all witnesses that they may either use in their direct examinations. The witness list itself is pretty self-explanatory. That's going to be any individual that they're going to use on direct, meaning that they're going to use to prove their case. Obviously, we know the plaintiffs are going to have the plaintiff himself. They're going to have any treating physicians. We see any on-scene responders, fire rescue, again, family witnesses and record custodians to authenticate those records, again, medical records. So this stuff is fairly standard. It's not super exciting, but what is a little bit exciting is when we get into the exhibit list. So this in particular, as I mentioned now a few times, these are going to be all pieces of evidence. We'll go through them line by line and give an explanation as to why this can hurt Wes Watson here, okay? All right, so starting off with number one, we see a mortality table, okay? This doesn't have to do anything with death. Basically, these are to quantify future damages. So again, it's just basically how long-term this assault can affect Hakeem Ibrahim. Again, with the anatomic models, again, these are just demonstrative aids so juries can understand what body part got wrecked. The clearer the anatomy, the higher the credibility, and generally the higher the valuation. Now, when we look at medical illustrations and medical animations, basically this is sort of like your ESPN telestrator of injuries. Visualizing a tear makes pain not abstract, okay? And again, we have the same thing, CT scans, MRIs. Again, this stuff is sort of standard. Now we go into photos and video of the incident. This is the holy grail, frankly, how it happened. It'll show any negligence or failure to control the premises. It'll show the extent of the accident or of the incident itself. It's devastating. Then we're going to go into photos of the plaintiff, both before and after, so jurors can actually see the extent for themselves of the severity of the injuries. And also, maybe even more importantly, they're going to be able to see photos of the actual premise where this happened at the gym. So they're going to look at the layout. They're going to look at the staffing, the security, if there are any signs up, whatever. They're going to be able to get the full picture of both the gym and exactly, frankly, what went down. Now, as we move on, this is where it gets interesting for Wes. Social media posts, videos, messages, and content for Wesley Watson. So now his brand becomes evidence. His boastful, dismissive, contradictory, or timeline-breaking posts become credibility exhibits. So again, if his defense is either, again, that this person had either reached out to him prior and instigated this fight, or whatever it may be, they're going to be able to go through directly and they're going to see, is there any credibility to that? Or more importantly, they're going to go back and see, has he posted anything instigating fights at this gym? And did that play a role? Now moving on, again, we're going to see the incident photos and videos that are created by Elevation Fitness by their own media. So if that conflicts with the gym's testimony, again, that's going to open them up for impeachment. And just to give a quick little summary of impeachment, impeachment is basically if you catch someone in a lie, or if you know someone's statement at trial is inconsistent with another sworn statement that they've made, you can use that to impeach. And without getting into the weeds of it, basically that can just go to the credibility of that person. Okay, so it's for a limited purpose, but for a jury, it's very powerful. When someone is now saying something different than they previously had said under oath. As we move on, we see social media posts and content for Wesley Watson talking about the incident. So talking tough now becomes talking under oath. Again, a lot of Wesley's social media posts are going to be under scrutiny. Now, of course, we anticipate Wes's counsel is going to either ask for a very, very clear either timeline or specific posts that they can use. Obviously, I would presume they're not just going to allow sort of to open the floodgates, and they're going to have them probably from a limited time period. So we're not going back and looking through all of his social media. And again, the social media posts that they're able to request and utilize are only going to be ones that are relevant to this incident. Whether it's him instigating the other individual to fight, whether it's him asking, having an open invitation for people to come fight him. Again, we're not going to go into posts about the gym, posts about his world views, whatever the hell they may be. So again, it doesn't just open the floodgates to everything he's posted under scrutiny. So again, we're going to have them limited to this situation and the surrounding situations, but they have to be relevant to what's going on, right? We see here that Hakeem Ibrahim basically breaks up the exhibits for Wes's social media in particular, and has his posts before the incident, immediately after the incident. These are where they're trying to set those parameters. So we see that they're going to utilize social media posts and content for Wes Watson prior to the incident, issuing challenges to the public. Again, so the prior challenge content can support foreseeability. If he's inviting chaos, he should expect chaos. And that foreseeability would sink any surprise defenses he may have, that this happened out of nowhere. I had no anticipation that someone could come and fight me at the gym. This was, again, not foreseeable. It sort of destroys that argument. Again, moving on, we see social media posts for Wes Watson after the incident. So again, post-incident statements will often minimize, shift blame, or brag, really in Wes's situation here. And that will show the lack of remorse. And it's also great to show some of his inconsistencies. So if the way that he was responding immediately after, again, if I recall, he made a post basically saying, this is what happens, when you try to mess with me, something along those lines. Again, those can now be utilized that are going to show that clearly he didn't have remorse, and his position today is inconsistent with what it was immediately after the incident. And again, here moving on, we see some of the social media posts they're requesting from both Elevation Fitness as well as Nicholas Dallas. Again, these are standard stuff. Again, the medical records and medical bills of Hakeem Ibrahim. This sort of creates the spine of damages to authenticate treatment. Not very exciting stuff here. So now we move on to number 17. So videotapes of all depositions. So again, remember when we alluded to earlier that deposition that will be occurring of Wes Watson here shortly. So again, those clips can be played at trial. So if his story A at the deposition is different than story B later here at trial, you play the tape and you just show the jury the inconsistency. The rest of the stuff is sort of standard, nothing too exciting. We see obviously they're requesting visual aids, both to show the extent of the injuries. And again, juries like visuals. So again, a jury are 12 ordinary people, right? Of supposedly here the Miami-Dade County. So again, if you get into sort of the complications, if you have a doctor getting into the specifics of the injuries, most people are, may sort of tune out, or maybe a little too technical for them to really see the extent. So these visuals become really sort of key for cases like this to show the extent. Obviously, we all saw some pictures of Hakeem Ibrahim following this incident, swollen. Those are powerful for a jury. Here, as we see sort of towards the end here, they're requesting for an exemplar of the weapons used in the incident here by the defendants. So we know that there was a weight belt. There may have been some weights, whatever that they can use to show the jury that this was more than maybe a limited self-defense. This went far beyond that, and being able to show the actual weapons here that were used and let the jury see, touch, feel is powerful. Again, these juries love stories, and as many visuals as you can have in a story, it makes you feel like you were there, or that you can get a much better sense of exactly what transpired here. So to wrap it up, guys, put simply here, again, Wes is about to be under oath, taking a deposition here in the next few weeks. And whatever he says in that deposition, he's going to be locked in at trial. He's not going to be able to change his answer. So it's going to be very key to see how he reacts to being deposed. I'm curious to see if he can maintain any sort of, decorum or if he's going to be his usual screaming, shouting sort of self. So again, it'll be very interesting to see here in the coming weeks. We'll definitely make sure to update you guys on that. And again, I think the exhibit list here makes everything very real for Wes. So it lets you know exactly what they're intending to use. The visual aids everything. It's going to paint a picture of exactly what to expect at trial. And now Wes knows exactly what he's up against. So let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think is the most powerful exhibit here that's maybe going to sink Wes's ship here finally? Let me know down below.